And Dan, do you have the mirror now?
I have the mirror in my crew like that.
Okay. We're getting word that when you get 13 off, we're going to try to take a look under there as well if the lighting is good.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll have the Krolak bag with me.
This is Mission Control Houston, 4 hours, 42 minutes into today's spacewalk. Whitson and Tani wrapping up work on one of the double covers around the circumference of the starboard solar alpha rotary joint. Now moving on to a pair of other covers that will continue to unveil the inner mechanism of the joint so that a full characterization of the level of contamination around the entire 360 degrees of the joint can be determined for further troubleshooting by engineers here on the ground.
Okay, counterclockwise to Alpha 6.
Good settings.
9 through.
While the work continues up on the International Space Station, analysis ongoing at the Kennedy Space Center as the tanking test, the fueling of Atlantis with liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen has continued throughout the morning. The liquid hydrogen low-level engine cutoff sensors are being characterized through this tanking test. Sensors that caused 2 launch postponements of the shuttle Atlantis back on December 6th and again on December 9th. Today, sensor number 1 failed. Sensors 2 and 3 displaying intermittent characteristics. And sensor 4 has held in solidly. A troubleshooting plan being developed by engineers down at the Kennedy Space Center to test sensors 2 and 3 to try to further pinpoint what may be causing intermittent readings in those sensors. This view of Peggy Whitson, extravehicular crew member number 2. Just over an hour ago, she surpassed the all-time cumulative spacewalking aggregate time record previously set by Sonny Williams of 29 hours and 17 minutes of spacewalking time. Whitson now with more spacewalking time than any other female spacewalker in history, and this her 5th spacewalk. This is also Dan Tani's 5th spacewalk. The other milestone reached today, the 100th spacewalk in support of space station assembly and maintenance, a spacewalk that began at 3:50 Central Time this morning.
Green light 2.4.
Thank you.
Whitson and Tani have been providing verbal descriptions of the inboard and outboard race rings, the various trundle bearing assemblies, as well as the 3 bearing contact surfaces for each of the 2 race rings during their inspection this morning. Also using Kapton tape to capture debris and contaminant particulate samples that will be returned in bags for later analysis.
Light 2.3.
Yep.
We're about 30 minutes away from the point that the crew would be asked to return to the area of cover number 20, which was the first cover removed in today's inspection work. Cover 20 houses drive lock assembly number 2 and trundle bearing assemblies 4 and 5. The most likely trundle bearing assembly that would be removed at this point at least is trundle bearing assembly number 5. The SARJ, or the solar alpha rotary joint, can operate with only 11 out of its 12 trundle bearing assemblies attached.
Cover looks clean, no issues.
Copy.
flying looks pretty clean.
Cleaner than some others?
Inside race. Cleaner than some others. Cleaner. This might be the cleanest one I've seen yet in terms of shavings or debris on it. There's the majority is still at that weird pivot point for the motor, for the bearing, for the upward canted bearing. Damage on the outer ring looks very typical. This looks very typical, very in family. Dusting of debris on the inside ring datum A. No damage at all to the canted surface that I can see on the inboard ring.
All right, let's pull the mirror out and see if you can get anything on the inner race.